Watching.
Good evening and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name is Randy Rosenblum. My co-host, Tarek is in Las Vegas. We're going to meet him in a moment. But let me tell you, this is our basketball wrap-up show, and I'm a little bit depressed because the high school basketball season, for all intents and purposes, is over. But, hey, we're going to recap some great moments, and we're going to have some great guests on. Ryan Coleman from Shalhevet, he led them to the state championship in girls basketball. He's their coach. Karlee White, a tremendous student athlete who's on her way to Harvard. She's our Pacific Surfliner young lady with a great GPA. We're going to honor her today. She has a 4.3 before she goes to Harvard. And we have Stan Delus, the head coach at Etiwanda, who led Etiwanda to the Open Division Girls Championship. By the way, Shalhevet won in Division 4. And we bring in from Las Vegas, Nevada, my co-host, Tarek. And Tarek, good evening. And I know you're there to watch the Bruins play Gonzaga tonight, but I'm glad to have you aboard as my co-pilot on the program. How are you tonight?
It's good. As they say, Vegas is always can be pretty wild, but there's a lot of fans out here. That's probably the best thing about the March Madness and NCAA tournament that I've been so impressed with is every time I go to a different city. You know, for example, I was in Sacramento and Missouri was at the site, and Missouri fans everywhere, Princeton fans everywhere. So just when you think no one's going to travel for these games, they do, and it creates quite an atmosphere.
You know, I miss high school basketball, but I miss you not being in studio, so hopefully we'll get you back next week. Unless UCLA qualifies and goes to Houston for the Final Four, then we might see you via remote again. All right, let's start with some of these state championship games. We'll start in the girls division. We start in the Open, where Etiwanda knocked off Archbishop Mitty 69-67, a dramatic win. Jada Sanders, a putback as the buzzer sounded to win it for the Eagles.
The best stat for that evening is Sanders had one rebound the whole game, and it was the offensive rebound she grabbed, which was, it didn't just fall to her. She absolutely was in position. She snatched it out of an Archbishop Mitty player's hands, more or less, and put it right back up for the game winner, a dramatic finish and a state championship for that program.
Yeah, Jade is a junior. Kennedy Smith, their other great star, is also a junior. So they'll return. Etiwanda is going to be very strong in girls basketball again next year. Congratulations. They are the state champions in the Open Division. Next, we want to talk about, and this is a game I know you're interested in, Los Osos, because they have a great freshman player in Jackie Poco, averaged 15 a game, getting by the team from up north, the Colfax Falcons.
She couldn't be stopped. Everything you would see out of her, and I know we're going to talk to Stan Delus. I mean, Los Osos is in the same league as Etiwanda, so I'm actually curious to know how she did against them. But boy, when she got on that state final floor, she was literally unguardable. Someone bigger was on her, she'd go by him. Someone smaller, she'd find a way to get physical and get into the lane. She was making free throws, three-pointers. She had 30 points.
As we look to Shalhevet, they won the Division 4 championship. And again, we're going to have Ryan Coleman on momentarily. The Firehawks over San Domenico, which is great because that's the team. The Panthers knocked the Firehawks out last year. So this was retribution for Shalhevet, the first unorthodox Jewish team to win a championship at the state level.
Right, and we have some footage of Ryan Coleman getting that CIF state trophy that eluded him last year, and the difference was really their best player, Yali Schwartz, who is really just this dynamic player that can shoot, go to the rim, she grabs rebounds, she plays defense. And, you know, Ryan Coleman, I tweeted a photo of him that day. You know, he's your favorite coach's favorite coach, and you know he's so well respected by his peers. I know we'll get a chance to talk with him today, but a really great accomplishment for Shalhevet.
Yeah, he has another great junior player. Schwartz is a junior, so is Ariel Goodman, who can really shoot it. So we're going to bring Ryan in now and talk about his great achievement. He's in New York. He coaches the boys team at Shalhevet as well. They're in L.A., near the Fairfax area, and he's got the boys in New York as well. They're playing there starting in a little while. And Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on the girls winning the state title. It's a remarkable accomplishment, and I know you were thrilled that you were able to get the retribution against the same team and win the state title. Congratulations.
Thank you. I couldn't be happier. Still haven't been able to wipe the smile off my face. Um, the likelihood of playing against the same team that beat us in the state championship the year prior was probably statistically impossible, with both of us moving up a division. But being able to get our redemption against them was pretty sweet.
How did it happen? What was the biggest difference this year from last year? Why did you knock this team off?
Well, I think Tarek touched on it. Last year in the first quarter, Yali Schwartz got injured, and she makes us go on both ends of the floor. She's extremely dynamic. She creates everything for not only for herself but for her teammates, and really opens up the game. When she went out last year, we were winning. It was the beginning of the game, but we were winning 7-0 at the time, and I think it really took the wind out of our sails. And having her back on the floor this entire year and being healthy made all the difference in the world. And then, as you touched on before, also having Ariel Grossman, and actually in the championship game, she was 4 for 6 from the three-point line, including 3 in the first quarter, and made her 100th three-pointer of the year. Those two really carried us offensively.
I don't know. I think it might have been Ariel who said this, but she talked about playing for a larger community, the Jewish community at Shalhevet, and that, such a kind of just insightful and really smart line, because she knew she was playing for something more than hoops, so to speak, and for the school, that playing for a large community. When you went back to Shalhevet, man, what's it been like back at Shalhevet and within that Jewish community now that you've won this state title? What's that been like?
The outpouring of happiness and congratulations has been overwhelming. People reaching out that I've never met before. And, even walking down the streets here in New York right now, as I prepare for the boys to play in our National Jewish Championship, the people that are stopping me and saying what a great representation we were for the entire Jewish community is really amazing. I think that all of our girls understand the kind of the gravity that this had for not only our school, but the entire Jewish community. It's been amazing.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about the event that you're involved with in New York, and what the boys are going to go through starting tonight, and if they can bring back another trophy to Shalhevet.
So this tournament is called the Red Sarachek basketball tournament. It's the top 24 Jewish teams in the country, and we play at Yeshiva University. It's a fantastic event. You play in front of a jam-packed gym. All the games are live streamed. Our school will be watching back home, and all of our family and community, and it's really a fantastic event. There's teams from all over the country. We've been fortunate enough to win it 2 of the last 3 years, and hopefully we'll get back on top this year.
My last one for you, Coach, is just about the sense of pride you have when it comes to your team. You always seem to have a smile on your face. You're having fun. I know we joke about the hours that you put in at film. There just seems to be so much pride that you pour into the program. Is that basically the secret sauce to why you guys are so successful?
I don't know if it's the secret sauce. I think it's probably one of the ingredients. As you know from your breakfast burrito reviews, it's not just the meat. You got to have the eggs and potatoes. So listen, there's a lot that goes into our program, and yes, I do put a lot of time and effort in. And I think as a coach and a mentor, it's very important to show the youth that when you work as hard as you can at something and push your mind and body past what you think is humanly possible, that you can achieve anything. So I try to lead them and these kids in our community to do a great job of staying humble, working their tails off, and really accomplishing things that we didn't think were probably possible in the end.
Well, Coach, we congratulate you one more time. Good luck next season. I know you got most of your players coming back, 4 out of the 5 starters. You're going to move up a couple divisions. I know that'll be challenging. Good luck in New York tonight, and thanks for dropping in. You wear that championship trophy very well. You always bring a big smile to the event, and we appreciate it, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that's head coach Ryan Coleman, state champion in the Division IV Shalhevet in girls basketball. Now we have a young lady with us by the name of Karlee White. She's an interesting story. 4.3 GPA, on her way to Harvard out of Oak Park. But I want Tarek to introduce her and tell a little bit of the story of Karlee White. Tarek?
Yeah, I got to set the stage, and it comes with a little drama. We were talking about it off the air a little bit, but this was last year. Tarek Fattel, Daily News prep writer, walks into Viewpoint Gym, and it's the CIF Southern Section Division I championship game, and this is kind of still COVID's looming, so it's a championship game and a high-level game, but it's at a host site, and it's right in Calabasas where Viewpoint is, and everyone's talking about Gabriela Jaquez, who is now a freshman at UCLA and helping the Bruins in the Sweet 16 Women's NCAA tournament. She was a McDonald's All-American. She was capable of scoring 30, 40 points. Here comes Camarillo High School, and they're going to beat up on Viewpoint. Here, the people had already written the story, but Karlee White, only a junior, absolutely was the best player on the floor that night. I want to say scored more than 30 points. Ended up being the CIF Southern Section Division I Player of the Year. Led Viewpoint to win the Southern Section Championship over Camarillo. It stunned everybody, and she just could not be guarded. And so that was kind of the birth of Karlee White on a bigger stage. And then this past summer, she transfers to Oak Park High School, and unfortunately, she wasn't eligible to play. But I know she took pride in kind of turning into a coach, like a player coach. And Oak Park ended up going on to win the Division V, I believe A or AA, and Karlee can help us on that. But they ended up going on to win the CIF Southern Section Championship under Coach Will Burr. And so now we have her joining us, and she's going to Harvard.
Well, that's an amazing story. So, Karlee, clarify the division championship for us, and tell us what it was like to be a coach rather than the player. I mean, because these are kids that your age, they're your classmates, but now you're kind of like an assistant coach. So what was that experience like?
Honestly, it's kind of a thing to kind of be on the other end of it and like watching all the progress they made in only a couple of months, and then watch them win a CIF championship after being like 1-20 last season. Just the growth, like individually and as people, it was really cool. And like just from a player perspective as well, like going on to college and having that like coach perspective and understanding like their train of thought and how they want to teach and how like they expect the players to understand. It was amazing. I loved it.
Karlee, was it 5A or 5AA did they win?
It was 5A.
5A. Okay, just making sure.
5A,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was too. And my question for you is, now we've got Delaney White, and she is your younger sister, only a freshman. And it's so funny, Will Burr, the coach, I text him all the time like, hey man, I know Delaney's killing in these games. Can you send me her stats? And Will Burr's like, yeah. So he'll send me like her rebounds and steals. I never know how much she's scoring. I don't know why he does that. But anyway, could you talk about how fun it's been to watch her grow and such a great player? Because I know she is one, and she was the player of the year for the division along with Lindsay Gould.
Yeah, I mean, I think just her being the baby of the family, to see her kind of grow up and mature because of Coach Will and all like the pressure he put her under so that she could evolve. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it. Just kind of watching her, kind of taking it like as an older sister perspective as well, like having to watch her struggle through those hard times in the early season and then come out on the other end and be the co-player of the year and like lead her team and be such a great leader and point guard. I mean, she's going to be better than all of her siblings.
Karlee, I want to talk about your academics before I let you go. 4.3 on your way to Harvard. Obviously, it's a great choice. How difficult is it to balance coaching, playing, with the academics and still come up with a 4.3?
Honestly, I don't know. I try and manage my time pretty well, but there's times where like I can't work out because I have to get my homework done, or like during my free periods, I just kind of make sure I create the time for myself so that I can get better every day, be there for my teammates, and also like maintain that GPA that I need and want. But it's also like, because of Coach Will, he kind of implemented into my head, like, I have to be a student athlete. Like, in order to achieve what I want in life and to have the opportunities to go to places like Harvard, I have to set myself up for success. And he definitely helped me get to where I am right now.
Well, I'm sure you'll have great success going forward. Best of luck at Harvard. I'm sure you'll knock them dead there. You'll be a great player in the Ivy League. And thank you for joining us. Congratulations on all your accomplishments, and especially that 4.3 GPA. Our academic award winner, Pacific Surfliner, presents that each year. So we thank you for coming in. Travel safe down the road, going back east. Thank you for joining us, Karlee.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, that's Karlee White. Now we turn our attention, Tarek Fatal, to Stan Delus, who is our real coach of the year. There's no question about that. He's the guy that led Etiwanda to the Open Division championship at the state level. I don't know where he's royalty, is he not, Tarek? I mean, this man pulled off the greatest coaching stunt of all time. He beat Sierra Canyon, he beat La Jolla Country Day, and he knocked off Archbishop Mitty. Is that the greatest coaching accomplishment ever?
There's no question. I'll never forget talking to Stan before the state final, and I said, "Man, how'd you do it? Like, let's talk about your defense." And he kind of, was like, "Okay, we did this, we did that," and then he looked at me and goes, "Honestly, if I gotta make up a defense, I usually do that." I mean, this guy is like in the lab finding ways to win games, and not only did he find a way to win games, he found a way to win a state championship at the highest level. So kudos to Stan Delus.
All right, we're going to talk to Stan, and my first question to Stan Delus is going to be an odd one. I want Stan Delus to not be Stan Delus and evaluate winning 3 games against those schools like the other Stan Delus did. How difficult an accomplishment was that, Coach? And again, you're away from Stan Delus now. You're not Stan Delus, but I want you to evaluate what he accomplished.
Thanks for having me, by the way. I appreciate it. Now that a couple of, about 10 days have gone by, now that I look back on it, it was pretty cool. It wasn't easy at all. And now that I have time to kind of just evaluate, think about it, be in the classroom and just kind of exhale a little bit, I'm pretty astonished on the goal that we had, because this is something that is, just by thinking about it now, was a daunting task. But the one thing that we had to do was take each game separate and put it in the segments and try not to make it as big as it was, which is very hard to do. But we were able just to make it a little bit smaller, and then try to find ways, individually and a team, to get the job done. And so I'm pretty proud of what we've done. I'm pretty proud of how we did it. But now that you just looking back at it, that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Stan, I watch you coach. It's one of the things I enjoy when I'm covering hoops. I like watching the coach instruct. And I can be very critical of a coach sometimes. Teams will go have a run against them, and I'm like, man, where is the coach going to call timeout? Is he going to draw something up? He needs to help his team. You do that so well, man. I just want to share that with you. But my question for you is, you coach these girls hard, Stan. How do you weave in there being hard and drawing a line, because that's what they need, and then, as all coaches do, showing love, for a player when it's necessary? How do you mix that?
Yeah, it's a balance. It's something that, is built through communication with your players constantly, because they do know that I hold our program and I hold our expectations to a high standard. I want them to understand that I want them to have fun in the process, but at the same time, be very extremely focused and intense in how you approach the game. Be very thankful and privileged to play this game at a high level, knowing that a lot of challenges are going to come your way, because we are one of the private schools in the state and in the country that's always playing against the top teams. And so I try to do a balance of the tough love, and that comes with a lot of communication with the girls on and off the court. But make sure that I give them a lot of instruction to where they have the information that they need mentally and physically to be able to perform. And when things get tough, dial it back because I do know that if I'm way too emotional sometimes, they'll follow suit, but also know when I'm intense, they'll pick that up as well. And so we've created a style and a balance to where, we respect each other, but they know that I'm always there for them. And I make sure that even through the tough times and even with me getting on them at times, that they still remain playing for themselves and playing for their teammates. And it's been a pretty good formula these last 7 years.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Wonderful accomplishment. Etiwanda, the state champions this year. Last year won the CIF Open Division, a step further this year. Continued success, and you're a class act. You've come on the show before, and we really appreciate your visit today.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's, in my mind, the coach of the year in all of high school basketball, Coach Stan Delus. And again, Tark, to put it in the proper perspective, he beat Sierra Canyon on the road, the #1 team in the country. La Jolla Country Day on the road, at one point was in the top 5 in the country. And Archbishop Mitty, who's a top 10 team in the country, back to back to back to win the state title. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Unbelievable. He deserves every accolade. He's got talented players. And, there were moments the team was down versus Archbishop Mitty. I mean, they have talented players as well, and they just continued to grind it out. And I think what's most, when you really step back, these seasons, Randy, they start, the games start in November, but they start these seasons in the summer. I mean, you're talking about workouts and things, maybe even late spring. So it's a long haul, boy. And for these guys to accomplish what they did, kudos to the Etiwanda girls basketball program.
And quickly, we want to take a look at our top 10, the final top 10 for the girls. Etiwanda and Sierra Canyon really split. You could have put either one at #1, but Etiwanda gets our #1 ranking. Sierra Canyon, the CIF Open Division champion at Modern Day 3. Those 3 teams split from everyone else. We did have one city school in there in the Westchester comments. There's our top 10 presented by Pacific Surfliner. Speaking of Pacific Surfliner, we're going to hear from them right now. We'll step out, talk about the boys in just a moment.
California has always been a land of discovery. From historic gems to iconic beaches to top attractions. Let the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner be part of your journey as you explore more of the place we call home. Reconnect with the communities you love most, with the people you love most. Isn't it time you rediscovered Southern California?
Time to turn our attention to the boys' side at the state championships as we take a nice look at all these great high school games from the state championship in basketball. Harvard Westlake, Dave Rabibo's team broke through with a win over St. Joseph of Santa Maria, 76-65. Again, Trent Perry, that backcourt star, an underclassman, 10 assists, leading the Wolverines. No surprise, Harvard Westlake was #1 most of the year, even though they didn't win the Open Division CIF title. They got an at-large berth, but most of the year, Tark, they were #1 in the state.
David Rabibo, we have video of him getting that trophy as well. Harvard Westlake, made a push at the end of the year. They actually are the only team to beat every Open Division field team this year. So they took a couple losses to some of those teams, but every Open Division Southern Section team entered into the playoffs this year. Harvard Westlake has a win over, and their biggest one came against Corona Centennial, Jared McCain and those guys in the regional final. Then they went on to beat St. Joseph of Santa Maria. An outstanding performance from the Wolverines and guys like Nick Kamenia and Trent Perry. That 10 assists was a CIF state record.
Notre Dame from the same Mission League won the Division I title over Granada. Caleb Foster was phenomenal for the Knights, hurting the Matadors throughout this contest.
Notre Dame makes history. Matt Sargent, we have video of that too. Again, these coaches have been at it for a long time, and they've been doing such a great job building these young men and keeping the goal in mind. You take your lumps, you don't feel good about yourself after some losses here and there, and you just continue to keep working, and they did. So kudos to them. Caleb Foster broke what I think was like a 30-year scoring record. He broke the Division I scoring record in a single game. So kudos to Caleb Foster. He's going to Duke.
Yeah, he had 33 points in that final. And the last one we want to talk about in the boys at the state, Valencia, another team you covered, gets another state championship for the Daily News area, Tarek. Tremendous performance.
That's right.
Beating Half Moon Bay.
San Fernando Valley, again, just one of the hotbeds of high school basketball for years, and here's proof of it. We got the Open champion, the Division I champion, and a Division IV champion. Here's Bill Bedgood, and this is why, actually, this is really nice. I don't know if you planned this, Randy, but this is nice. This is a nice way to kind of finish, so to speak, the high school basketball season. Bill Bedgood is one of the good ones. He retired after this victory. He's been coaching high school basketball for almost 25 years. His son is a standout junior, Bryce Bedgood, who's going to be a senior next year. And Bill just said, you know what? I want to be a dad. So he wins a state championship, the program's first ever crown, and he steps aside. So kind of a wonderful moment for Bill Bedgood.
Yeah, another great player, a senior player, Micah Ballou, that was very good as well. All right, so let's take a look at Linwood's game where they hammered Sierra 89-58. Of course, Linwood's got a special freshman, don't they?
Jason Crow Jr., he's the guy. I believe he broke the state record for points by a freshman, if I'm not mistaken, or if he didn't, he was like second or third at the lowest. So, very, very, very anticipated career these next 3 years in high school for Jason Crow Jr., a really, really good player that can shoot, go to the basket, and he's a lefty. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, just under 1,300 points. I think 1,298 for the year. All right, that takes us to our top 10 in the boys. Harvard, Westlake, Corona Centennial, the Open Division champions, and Notre Dame. Now, as we look to next year, St. John Bosco going to be very, very strong. Mater Dei, which won a Division I championship for Gary McKnight, they're going to be very strong. And Harvard Westlake returns a ton of guys.
There is a lot of talent that returns on this list, so I think you nailed it. I think Harvard Westlake, St. John Bosco, Bishop Montgomery certainly will be up there as well. And Etiwanda has guys returning, and you said it, Mater Dei, all basically returning except for their center, Davidson. Nick Davidson, is it? Joe Davidson? David, something like that. Nick Davidson? I forgot his name, but he graduates.
Yeah, it's Nick Davidson, and his brother plays and is doing a good job helping Nevada get into the NCAA tournament, but they got bounced. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Battle of the Valley. That was played at Sierra Canyon. It's an all-star game. They had the 25th edition. They have a boys game and a girls game. In the boys game, the West over the East. Jimmy Aladakun, the big center from Sierra Canyon, had a great game and was the MVP of the contest as they scored 150 points in beating the East.
The All-Star Games are always a fun event. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Obviously, I was traveling for work. But Jimmy Aladakun doesn't surprise me. In these All-Star games, that's a lot of run and gun. So my guess is he had a lot of offensive rebounds and putbacks. And that's without even looking at the footage or anything. Really good player, and he's going to play at University of San Diego. Looking forward to see how he does in his college career. Excuse me.
And Keon Kenzie won the dunk contest out of Taft. We watched him slam there. On the girls' side, a young lady, Hunter Hudson of Chaminade, led the West team. On the girls' side, to a tough win over the East in the 25th Battle of the Valley. Hunter was very impressive.
Hunter Hudson, I believe, got all CIF honors for Division I, from Chaminade. And every time I would get the scores from Megan Kelso, the head coach, or the assistant coach, Jenna Leolagi, Hunter Hudson was always filling up the box score with points and rebounds. So it doesn't surprise me, a very talented young girl.
And you're not surprised that Keon won the slam dunk contest either. Keon Kenzie, he is a high riser out of Taft. It's always a fun event when you have these dunk contests, but Kenzie's unbelievable with his explosiveness.
He is really good. There's a couple things about his game he needs to polish up, but I will give you this, and I think you'll appreciate it. Steve Lavin, who's the coach at University of San Diego, is recruiting Keon Kenzie, and said that Keon Kenzie reminds him a little bit of Lamar Odom. And I know that kind of sounds like, wait a minute, Lamar was a lot taller, but we're talking about a left-handed, long, athletic athlete that has guard skills. Sounds like Lamar Odom to me, so, hey, something to keep an eye on.
Another great doubleheader in boys and girls all-star basketball is the Collision Games. They've had them all around the city. This year it's going to be at Westchester on April 15th. That'll be fun. What I like about those all-star games, Tarek, is they have a CIF Southern Section component to it. The girls has been one-sided for the CIF Southern Section because they have so many more schools. But the city can really play with the Southern Section when they put their all-stars together. That makes the collision games a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Sure. Anytime you see section teams go at it, it makes it more enticing. It's why the CIF state championships are good too. Generally, those state finals are two teams that have never seen each other, and they're representing different sections. So, yeah, when you get to an all-star game, lots of talent. I don't know if the city section has enough, but that's why you play the game. We'll see.
Yeah, last year, Donovan Dent out of Corona Centennial led the Southern Section to a 4-point victory. Tarek, enjoy the games tonight and down the road. We'll see how far UCLA goes. Tarek Fatal from his cush pad in Las Vegas getting ready for some NCAA college basketball. For Tarek and our entire LA 36 crew, I'm Randy Roosevelt. So long for now on SoCal Prep Report. We'll be back again live at 9 o'clock next Thursday right here on LA 36. Good night, everybody, and I hope Tarek, in particular, enjoyed high school basketball and his Mission League winning all these state championships. We'll see you next week.